Hey sweetheart, bye, see you in the evening. I'll pick you up at 6, whispered my husband, Ray, behind my ears as I was working in kitchen. I just smiled and nodded since my mother-in-law was also in the kitchen. This situation is very common in our house, because Kumar and I have lived with my in-laws after our marriage. As I grew up in a big family, my ma lived with her in-laws too. This situation is very familiar to me. I was taught that couples romance only in their bedroom, and intimate moments are not allowed anywhere around the house. I'd been married to Kumar for 6 months now, and it had been an arranged marriage. My family chose my husband for me. Kumar was chosen based on his family background and his ability to support me after marriage. Before I met him, I was extremely nervous and worried that I may not like him. How am I supposed to live with him if I don't like him? Fortunately for us, love sparked as soon as we met each other. He was handsome, sweet, and cheerful. We got married 3 months after meeting, but during that time we never went out on a date. Because I live in Jodhpur and he is in Mumbai, and apart from that, this is very common among our society here. Finally, the night I feared arrived, our wedding night. In our culture, before a bride enters the bedroom, she will be advised by her mom and elders. Your husband is to be respected. Any wish of his must be fulfilled, even if you aren't in the mood, was the advice given to me. I totally disagreed but kept quiet. My mind was filled with thousands of questions, and I was trembling a little as I was sent into the bedroom. I barely knew Kumar yet. Although we liked each other, we'd never talked much and hadn't gone out on a single date. How am I supposed to react? As I entered the bedroom, he was sitting on the edge of the bed, waiting. I became even more nervous. But what happened that night was the sweetest thing any husband could do for his wife. My love for him grew to immense heights after that night. He told me to sit next to him and then took my hands in his. I think he felt my hands trembling and how very cold they were. Kumar just smiled and said, Tani, I know you're very nervous. So am I. I could tell he was nervous too. He cleared his throat and continued. You know, I fell in love with you the moment I saw you. I knew we were made for each other, but we never really get to know each other. So, he stopped and looked deep into my eyes. I just kept silent since I didn't really know what to say. I believe that love-making comes naturally and should not be forced. Oh my, he thinks the same as I do. I smiled back to him and waited for him to continue. So maybe we should save our first night together till we really understand each other and let it come naturally. I can wait for as long as you need to be comfortable. What do you think? I was shocked and pleased at the same time. What guy would agree to wait for his wife to be ready for love-making the first time? I was almost in tears and just nodded in agreement. He looked very pleased. Look, I want to take you out on a date tomorrow. Where shall we go? He asked. A date? Finally, I'm going out on a date, with my husband. I was beyond excited. I always wanted to go to the park for a date, I replied smiling. He just returned my smile and agreed. I'll sleep on the couch in our room until our first night together, he said. I was so surprised. He was really sincere. I took his pillows and arranged them on the couch and then changed into my nightie. He came out of the bathroom and walked towards me. I wanted to hug him but was too nervous. I guessed he could read my mind. He came to me, cupped his hands on my cheeks, and kissed my forehead. I love you, he whispered. And you look very cute when you're nervous. I smiled and hugged him. He ran his hands down my arms and wrapped around my waist. I felt thousands of butterflies flying in my stomach. I felt so warm and safe in his arms. The next day we went to the park on our first date. I was dressed in red anarkali suit, and we had such a wonderful time together. We were acting just like a dating couple. No one would have guessed we were married. Living with a big family was a little uncomfortable for me at first since we could not show our affection outside our bedroom. But Kumar was very smart and very romantic. He would wink when no one is looking. He would sneak up to the kitchen when everyone else was watching TV and hug me from behind as I was working in kitchen. Somehow, I guess my in-laws understood why he is in the kitchen when I was working there, so they never walked in when he was there. The first time he did that, I was totally shocked. I see someone is busy, he said as he wrapped his hands around my waist. I was preparing dinner during the second week of our marriage. His hands felt so good and I liked it, but what if someone walks in? What are you doing? What if someone walks in? I asked as I turned to look him. It's okay. No one will come, he assured me. Although was not convinced, I loved the feeling of his hands on me. He ran his hands down my arms and on my stomach. I felt like I was in heaven. Slowly he kissed on my forehead, nose, and cheeks and then trailed down on my neck. I really wanted this to continue but he stopped. I won't be able to stop myself if I continue, he whispered. I kissed his cheek. You know you are such a sweet husband. He smiled and left the kitchen. This love affair continued for a whole month. I was prepared to submit myself to him on our 1-month anniversary. I wanted to make it a surprise, but he already had his own surprise planned for me. The morning of our 1-month anniversary fell on a weekend. I woke up and was surprised to see that my in-laws were packing. Where is everyone going? I asked. Beta, we are going for a wedding in our relative house and staying over the weekend. Take care of the house, my mother-in-law replied. Well, this was working out just perfect. We're getting the house all to ourselves. After waving goodbye to them, I was very happy as I went back into the house to prepare breakfast. My darling husband was still asleep. He would be glad to see the house empty, I thought. I sneaked into the bedroom to change into more sexy attire that I never get to wear if my in-laws were at home. I chose a royal blue short dress which reached above my knees. After dressing up, I went back to the kitchen and continued my work. After few minutes, I felt familiar hands touching my arms. My darling was awake, and he hugged me from behind as usual. I see that everyone has gone for a wedding, he whispered behind my ears. I turned to face him in a shock. How did you know they went there? Well, sweetheart, it was my idea to send all of them out of the house. Happy 1-month anniversary. We wouldn't want them to disturb us tonight, right? So this was his idea. He then released me from his arms and took 3 steps backwards. He gave me a typical male scan top to bottom. Well, you look sexy in this. I decided to tease him a little. Walking close to him, I run my hands on his face. I thought I'd create a little excitement for you while waiting fortnight. I tried to make my voice seductive but was not sure whether it worked. Oh, really? He cupped my face in his palms. We gazed lovingly into each other's eyes, and he gently kissed my lips. That was our first real kiss, and it was unforgettable. Slowly our kiss became more passionate, and I could feel he aroused by now. His lips moved onto my neck and then trailed even lower. I knew I was losing my control. I wanted him so badly, but we were determined to wait for night to arrive. The whole day was spent in the house. We watched a DVD together, and I sat next to him, lying on his shoulders. His hand was on me all the time. We prepared lunch and dinner together and played some games together. I could feel the fire of desire burning within us. After dinner and when I had finished doing all the chores, he handed me a packet and told me to get ready in another room. I went into another room and closed the door. The packet contained a beautiful red netted sari. I got ready and after half an hour he knocked on the door. When I opened the door, he looked shocked to see me. You look so beautiful. He kissed me then took out a cloth from his pocket. I'm going to blindfold you and lead you to our bedroom. Before could reply, he closed my eyes, and I felt his strong arms lift me off my feet. I was so excited. Once we got there, he let me down and removed the blindfold. I was totally shocked to see the bedroom. He had decorated it with white and red roses and lighted scented candles. I could feel my eyes tearing. I wanted to make this night very special for you. Hope you like it, he whispered. It's so beautiful, thanks. I kissed him gently but the kiss grew more passionate with desire. He gently lifted me onto the bed. He helped me off with my sari, and I was completely naked in front of my husband the first time. He began running his hands on my face, kissing me as his hands went lower. He then kissed my neck and slowly nuzzled his head on my chest. I began moaning, and my heart was beating faster and faster. I sensed he was breathing a lot harder too. I was going crazy with desire. Are you ready? He whispered, breathing heavily. I found it hard to speak and just answered, yes. We made love for the first time after 1 month of marriage. It was the first time for both of us, but he was very gentle and understanding, and I had the best time in my life that night. Each and every touch had his love. Afterward, as I rested my head on his chest, he ran his hand on my hair lovingly. I'm sorry I made you wait a month for this. Thank you for understanding me, I whispered. I know that submitting yourself is a big issue for a sweet girl like you. I wanted to make it as perfect as I could for my baby princess. It was indeed perfect.